banging them in the head.
Check one. All of this winning.
Like I leave up the shine, been moving on and on the way to the city.
Let's take it to Union Square.
I am Viper Riders Truck. Just about to burn town. Burn it down.
Hey everyone, it's Kim Brown Jefferson here, and I want to welcome you to FabFit TV. This is the place for women who want to break free of the diet mindset so they can live a life of balance, peace, and harmony, and fall in love with their bodies, their businesses, and their lives. So tonight, tonight's a very kind of different departure for what I normally talk about. So come along on the adventure with me. So tonight's show is for those women who are they're done. They're done trying to figure it out. They are done whining. They're done complaining. They're done playing the woulda, coulda, shoulda game. They're ready to just get stuff done. And if this wasn't a public TV, I would say something a little bit more colorful. But you get what I'm putting down. Like this is a show about people who are ready to put the stake in the ground and just be like, let's do this. So you're ready to give up your seat on the struggle bus and just be like, how do we make this go away? And how do I make this my life? That it's not this constant mental game of like, what do I eat? How do I work out? What's this? What's that? Is this good? Is this bad? You know, should I be doing more of this, less of this? Whoa, enough. Stop the insanity. So if that sounds like you're in the right place. So tonight I sat down and I was like, what is it? Like, what's kind of like, I know that everyone wants kind of like a blueprint, a framework, if you will, of like, how do you get started? How do you make this part of your life? And so I came up with what I call the Fabulously Thriving Framework. And it has 4 pillars to the framework. And, you know, the framework starts with the 4 pillars are consistency, courage, creativity, and confidence. And those are the 4 pieces, the 4 building blocks to be able to really say that I can make this a sustainable life that works for me. Not, here's what's worked for me, you do it now too. Because when I followed those plans before, I was frustrated. When I followed those plans before, I was like, how quickly can I cheat on this? I followed those plans before and I negotiated. I was like, oh, well, I'm going to do a little bit of this, but a little bit of that, and a little bit of this, a little bit of that. And then I wondered why I didn't get any results, because I kind of sorta versus putting, 2 feet in. And I want you to put 2 feet in. And when you put those 2 feet in, every time I say that term, I remember I went to a conference, and this guy was just an amazing speaker. And I mean, like, the whole crowd was just like, the energy in the room was just like, you could literally plug everyone in. They were just so fired up from what the guy was saying. And he literally jumped off the stage. He was like, if you want this, if you want to grow your business, if you want to lose the weight, you got to go 2 feet in, and literally jumped off the stage, landed, on his 2 feet, landed on his 2 feet, and said, who's ready to jump off the stage like that for what you want? So we're jumping off the stage right now. And these 4 pieces are what's the framework to help you jump off the stage. Because every good house needs a good foundation, right? And when your house doesn't have a good foundation, at some point that house is going to shift, it's going to crack, and it's going to fall all over itself. So let's start with the foundation. The biggest thing that I know, like, if you can conquer this, consistency, and then some more consistency. And so many people think that their body is like this light switch, like, oh, I'm going to a wedding. I have 9 days to go to a wedding. What can I do? True story. I hear that all the time. And it's like, flick on the light switch. I'm dieting. Hey, wedding's over, vacation's over, I can do whatever I want. Oh, this is happening, turn on the light switch, turn it off. And at some point, at multiple points, your body wants to give you the finger. Your body's like, dude, make up your mind. I don't work like that. I don't switch as fast as your brain thinks I switch. I like consistency. I like to know that I'm getting food. I like to know that I'm exercising. I like to know these things. Now, I like a little bit of a challenge, but I don't like these like radical, swerving decisions that you make. So with consistency, it's like it's coming up and ditching that all or nothing. I'm either on or I'm off. It's finding that piece where, if you were to kind of picture wave troughs, right? Here's the wave. Here's the waves. And instead of, see how smooth that line was? So instead of being like, how do you make it so that, you know, you have some fun, less fun, more fun, less fun. So it's like a nice even flow where you're not giving stuff up, but you're not, you know, having this like wild binge fest, but then deprivation fest. Binge, deprive, because that just weighs so heavily on your mind, but also your body just was like, I don't know what's going on. It's like Jekyll and Hyde. And setting realistic goals, you know, and to do that, you have to honor where you are. If you're someone who literally is just getting off the couch, you can't expect to be, you know, you can't expect to compare yourself to someone who's been consistently working out for years and years and years. You need to say, you know what, this is where I am. I respect it. And I admire where they are and say, you know what, someday I'm going to get there. And realize that you have to take the steps to get where you are. One of my favorite quotes is by Arthur Ashe, and it says, start where you are, do what you can. So start where you are. Be you. Don't look around and say, well, this person has this and this person has that and I don't have it. And because that's just going to mess with your mind. It's going to defeat you and you're not going to get started. Where if you're like, you know what, this is all I can do right now. And that's all anyone can accept. You know, on Monday, I had a new woman come to my class and, you know, 80% of my class are regulars. And then I have like people who kind of come and go. And so this woman, she comes up to me after class. She's like, you know, I want you to know I was really, really trying in class today. And I was like, yeah, I saw that. And she's like, well, some people like really pushed me really hard. And she's like, I was doing the best I could do. And I was like, did you have a good class? And she's like, I did. I go, do you feel that you kicked your own tushy? She's like, I did. And I said, then you know what? I win. I taught a good class. You got a good class. We're all square. And she's like, well, you know, I really want to do better. And I was like, dude, you did better. You came in to have a great workout. Mission accomplished. It's when we get in this head of like, you know, I look to the right and I look to the left and this girl was, you know, throwing 50-pound weights around and this girl, she was doing like burpees and she was jumping up to the ceiling and I barely got off the ground. It's like, that's where you are. This is day 1 in the class. But imagine day 20 in the class. You're going to be a very different person. So think about what your future person is, not the person to the right and to the left of you. Because this is about you and your journey. And trust me, you got a good story. And know that it's not going to be perfect. There's no perfection out there. I wish. I'm a recovering perfectionist, so I totally know. Because there's so many times people will wait for, oh, when my kids go to school, that'll be the perfect time. Or when my husband does this, that'll be a perfect time. Or when I get a new job, that'll be a perfect time. So it's like when I insert the blank. And I gotta tell you, be it weight loss, getting a new job, starting a relationship, when you put that when I blank, how many times does that work out for you? It's kind of like, you know, people who plan pregnancies. I'm going to get pregnant in March and that way I'll have the baby in the summer, I'll have the baby in the fall, or I'll get pregnant in the winter. It never works out that way. Mother Nature's like, oh, I'm going to work on my timetable, not yours. So just start. Just say, you know what? Today's a good day to start. It doesn't have to be Monday. You could be like, you know what? Friday's just as good as a Monday. It doesn't. Just pick a day. Just put a stake in the ground and say, this is the day, and I'm getting stuff done. And know that it's a process. Know that you are going to take a few steps. You might stumble. Take a few steps. You might fall flat on your face. But you're going to get up. You're going to dust yourself off. You're going to say, you know what? I figured out that doesn't work. And I'm going to keep moving forward. Because that's how you learn. That's how you learn. People will ask, about food portion. People will ask about, how far they should go between meals. And what I teach you is that you need to listen to your body. So what's hungry for you might be different hunger for me. So it's like figuring out where your portions are. So it's really kind of you becoming the detective. One of my favorite shows, I have two favorite shows, Law and Order, and the whole series, the whole franchise there, and CSI, the whole franchise. And it's just like you are, the dead body on the floor, and you're trying to figure out like what works for me. You're going back and you're doing all the forensics to figure out what foods are going to work best for you. So what does consistency look like? Consistency can be something that you add. So maybe you have vegetables every day because you don't eat them. So maybe you have vegetables every day. And it could just be you have vegetables with dinner. It could be you have vegetables with lunch, vegetables with breakfast, whatever. And that's just something simple that you're adding daily. You're having a cup of vegetables. It could be that you set a bedtime. Right now you just fall asleep on the couch, and then you say, I'm going to set a bedtime. It could be that you wake up consistently at the same time. Could be you start to go for a walk at lunchtime. So pick something that you feel that you can be consistent and set a marker. They say a habit takes, it says 21 days, but new research says 66 days. But like set a habit and then like create like a chart where every day you do it, create an X. And then the other thing could be something that you take away. So you could be, if you drink a lot of soda, you could be like, all right, I'm going to have one less Coke, one less diet soda today. If you smoke, I'm going to have one less cigarette today. And then you kind of slowly weed yourself into the pool. All right, does that make sense? Because, it's like you can cannonball and just go home and like clean out all the junk food in your house. Or you say, you know what? I can't live without my 2 pieces of Lindt chocolate a day, so I'll fight you for it. And then everything else goes. So you decide how the process works for you. And the second part is creativity. So I asked this question, what's the one thing that stops you from living a healthy life? And so many people gave me their things, and the number one reason was time. Time. And it was time as far as food and time as far as working out. And so I'm like, this is when you get creative about you. So for workouts, who says your workout has to be 2 hours, 90 minutes, an hour? Who says that? Like, where is that rule book? Like, because if you have that rule book, holla, I want to hear it. Because now I tell people, like, any movement is movement. So I'd rather you say, I have 30 minutes, I have 15 minutes, and then, we're going to pack in a great solid workout for 15 minutes. And something that's going to challenge you, and then you can be done. And I was guilty of it. Like, I was one of those people that if I could not do an hour and a half workout, it was a waste of my time. Now, my workouts can be anywhere from like 20 to 30 minutes. Boom, I go in, I hit the weights, I'm in, I'm out, bam, 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 done. Because it's like I don't have that kind of time anymore, and I don't want to make that kind of time. So you decide how much time you want to make, and then tailor the workout to the time that you have. And that time could vary each day, because you might maybe Monday through Friday only have 20, 30 minutes. But maybe on a Saturday, you're like, you know what? I can fit in a 45-minute workout. Make sense? Then as far as creativity with food, one of my big things, people are like, I eat the same thing over and over again because I don't know what to do. So I cry BS on that, because Pinterest is just loaded with recipes. Recipes that take 30 minutes, recipes that take 10 minutes, recipes that don't even require you to cook. And when I say don't require you to cook, like there's a recipe that I like throw some chicken, some vegetables, a little olive oil, a little salt, a little pepper. I throw it in the oven for 30 minutes, boom, dinner. Who can't do that? That's one of my favorite go-to meals, is like, put a meat, some veggies, throw a little olive oil on it, throw a little chicken broth on it, some salt, some pepper, throw it in the oven, I'm done. Throw something on the grill, I'm done. But if you're like, no, I don't have that time, so you have those meal prep kits. You also have every place has someone who makes a healthy meal. Like here in Boston, I have a company called The Foodery, and I place an order on Thursday, and they show up on Sunday, and the meals last me anywhere from Wednesday to Thursday, depending on what I ordered. And it's great. All I have to do is, and it's made for two, so all I have to do is go in there, cut it in half, and I either have 2 dinners or lunch and a dinner, and there it is. You can meal prep, but when I meal prep, I'm not in the kitchen all darn day. I just, I make it really simple, I make it really easy. But it's like taking the time to say, what time do I have? And if you have 15 minutes, I can help you meal prep in 15 minutes. Just hit me up and I can totally help you get that done. But if you I meal prep while I make my dinner on Sunday night, and I'm in and out of the kitchen in an hour because I don't have that time. I am not Martha Stewart, nor do I ever want to be out there doing all that stuff. So, I want you to think about, what does it look like for you? Like, get creative here and say, what does it look like for you? And maybe you're going to work at a slower pace. Maybe you're going to speed up some weeks. Maybe some weeks you're slower. Because I remember, to make this work, I had to figure out, here is the framework. How is it going to work for my life? How is it going to work for my family's life? Because I was not making 2 dinners. No. So I want you to do that. The other thing is, if you have a corporate job, what about walking meetings? I remember when I was in corporate, my good friend and we would always go for a run, and our run was our meeting, and it was just both like relieved the stress, but it was also I got to like chat over something we were about to, a project we were working on. So it was a great way to do that. Sometimes it can be as simple as getting up 15 minutes early and just doing some yoga. Because I want you to start thinking of, I'm building consistency, I'm building habits, so that as you feel more comfortable, you feel more confident, you're willing to take on more things. Because I find that, and this is the third C, courage. Because I find that some of us look at the past, and we're looking in the rearview mirror, and we're looking at, the Thigh Master that you have back there. You're looking at the Stairmaster that you bought that's now quote rack. You're looking at the gym membership that doesn't get used. You're looking at all of the things in the past. All the things in the past that you tried and you didn't stick to, or you tried and it didn't work, or you tried and it just wasn't for you, and you're just like, why? Where I want you to look forward, put those blinders on, look forward and say, today's a new day, and I'm ready for this to be my life. And in order for this to be my life, I have to figure it out on my terms. So I have to get creative. So if it means for 15 minutes you're just watching a YouTube video and doing yoga, then you're watching a YouTube video for 15 minutes and doing yoga. If it means you're taking your dog for an extra 15-minute walk, then you're taking your dog for an extra 15-minute walk. These are all things that are starting to get you down the road. And get creative and be creative about it. Because I don't want you to have this all or nothing. And I've told this story before where I had this client where if she didn't work out Monday through Friday, if the car broke down, a kid got sick, she had to come in early, she was pissed and she was like thrown off for the whole week. And I was like, stop committing to 5 days a week. Commit to 3. And when you hit 5, you're going to feel amazing. But if you hit 3, you can check the box and say, you know what? I hit my goal this week. And so it's like, I want you to think about, yes, I want you to have a goal that might stretch you a little bit, but I also want you to have a goal that is if you're not going to be frustrated that you can consistently can't hit that goal. Go back to start where you are. Do what you can. So then the third C is courage. And this is, I alluded to it. It's having the courage to look at things differently. So one of the things for me was that last year, my hormones were just like all out of whack. And, you know, the woman I was working with, she said, you know, the best way to help you detox your body is to go vegan. Now I like my meat. And literally I was like, what? And it was just like someone like there's chaos in my world. And now I got it. Like now I'm like, now I know when I sit down across from a client and I say, okay, you know, these are the changes you're gonna have to make, that they're like reeling too. And I had to have the courage to make that change to get what I wanted. So I asked, you know, what's your why? Why do you want to lose this weight? Why do you want to get fitter? Why do you want to live a healthier life? Because that's what you're going to go back to when you're having those days where you're like, woulda, coulda, and you roll over. You know, those mornings where it's snowing outside, I live in New England, where it's snowing outside and you're just like, yeah, I'm not going. So, Tony Robbins, one of my, like, I love him. He says that if you want a better life, you ask yourself better questions. So, one of the things that people always do is that they have this, not everyone, but a large majority have that, I'm going to start again on Monday. You know, everything's great, and then here it is Thursday, and it's Sally Sue's birthday, there's cake from your favorite place, and you're like, I'm going to have a wafer thin sliver, and then Sally Sue and everyone is going out for drinks, and you're like, oh, I'm just going to have one. Next thing you know, it's like 2 or 3 drinks, and then there's nachos, and blah, 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 blah. And then you wake up the next morning, and you're just like, oh, defeated. And, you know, 2 things happen. You either, like, hop on a treadmill and try to burn it off. That can still work, by the way. Or you say, screw it, I blew it, we're going to start again on Monday. And so I want to tell you, like, think about it. That was a moment in time. I'm all for moderation. I'm all for, like, going out and having a good time in moderation. Now, if you told me that every Friday night you did that, then we'd be like, we might need to have a conversation about it. But if that was like once in a blue moon, you had some wine, you had some nachos, you had some cake, wake up the next morning and be like, I had a good time, moving on. And I'm back on the path. You know, because it's like everyone falls off the path, but then everyone comes back on the path. And don't judge. It's like, you know what, that happened. And if you want to judge, be like, okay, hindsight's 2020. If that would happen again, would I be like, yeah, I'm not going to have the nachos. And I'm just going to focus on the wine. Or, you know what, I really want those nachos, so I'm going to have the nachos instead. So it's like, those are smarter conversations, smarter questions to ask yourself versus the, you know, oh, I'm such a stupid jerk. Like, oh, I'm such a fat slob. Oh, blah, blah, blah. You know, all the things that we say to ourselves that if someone else said them out loud to us, we would be pissed. So, you know, then also I want you to have the courage to define success. What is success? Like, here, what, you know, so many people will have these like loosey-goosey goals is what I call them. They'll be like, I want to tone up. Point to what tone looks like, because I want you to be able to shout your goal from the rooftops, and anyone walking past will say, oh, I know what 5 inches looks like. I know what adding more weight to your deadlift looks like. I know what that is. But when you're like, I want to get more tone, how do you know if you reached it? You know, because that's a sliding scale. And the other thing is, have the courage not to use calories or the scale to define you. Because the calories don't tell you anything. They really don't. They really don't. Because if I were to compare, you know, calories in a donut to calories in a chicken breast, you're not going to get the same thing. And the last C is confidence. This is where you imagine a life where you aren't constantly seeking. You aren't constantly looking for the latest and greatest diet, the latest and greatest workout. You are no longer seeking advice from friends, coaches, Facebook groups. You have the feeling. You're listening to your gut. You're listening to your body when your body's telling you when you're hungry. Your body's telling you when you have low energy. Your body's telling you when you're craving. And you're able to play that CSI for yourself to figure out what exactly is going on. Here's where you have the confidence to assess where your weakness is. What are your trigger foods? What are the things that set you off so that you don't have that control, that you can't use willpower to get you there. You're able to look at and say, you know what? I need to ask for help because I want to kick this, and I want to confidently kick this so that I'm not revisiting this whole process over and over and over again. It could be something as simple as like every time you eat, you take a photo of it and you send it to a friend for accountability. You text a friend on Sundays like, this is what my workout schedule is, and then you text on Friday like, this is what happened. Or every day you text like, this was my workout. Or you take a picture of you physically on the Stairmaster, be like, I'm on the Stairmaster. So whatever it is that you have to do. So I encourage you to use the framework as a guideline to start living a healthier life so that you can finally break free of the confusion around getting healthy and actually start getting some sustainable results. So I want to thank you guys so much for your time tonight. I will be back on the 26th of September. And in the meantime, if you have any questions or comments, you can connect with me on social media. I am on Facebook, Kim Barnes Jefferson Coach. And you can also find me on Instagram at FabFitSquad. I want to thank you guys so much for your time, and I will be back again on September 26th, so I look forward to that, and I would love to hear your feedback, so feel free to shoot me an email at squadleader@fabfitsquad.com for any tips that you might want or what you thought about today's show. All right, thank you guys so much, and have a fabulous week.